Hello and welcome to Failure Analysis. My name is Kevin Jordan, and I'm taking a look here at the 8.2 Rise of Ashara content preview. Let's take a listen.
Hi everybody, my name's Jeremy. I'm a game designer on the World of Warcraft team, and welcome to our live stream for Rise of Ashara. We've been working really hard on a lot of content. So recently, we unleashed Tides of Vengeance. And
Just to answer the question, I don't know who this person is, Jeremy Fiesel, senior game designer, after my time.
And we unleashed patched 8.15, tons of content there. Increases to our story outline. We fought the Battle of Nazjatar, and we got the Kultirians and the Zandalari on our side. But now is finally the time when we get to talk to you a little bit about our next large content update that we only gave you glimpses of back at BlizzCon. So super excited to get into everything. Let's go ahead and jump right in and start talking about Rise of Ashara. Just to set the stage for you really quickly, to catch you up on the storyline, we defeated the battle for Nazjatar. King Rastakhan fell, Mechatorks on ice, and everybody retreated. After that, we got the Kultirians and the Zandalari as our allies and their last remaining ships. And then just recently, just this week, you picked up a brand new knife friend and unlocked the ability to see what was underneath the Shrine of the Storm in the Crucible of Storms. And of course,
It's interesting, this approach, like right off the bat. Like I'm thinking back to my day where some of the players would have done this. But he's definitely speaking as if, this under this new sort of way of doing things, that everyone is doing this stuff because most people are raiders now, which is very interesting, and has always been an ongoing problem with, how do you tell the story in a World of Warcraft setting or an MMO setting, where the most epic things are naturally, gated behind raids. So how do you convey the story so that people feel a part of it? And unfortunately, it's led to the solutions that they've come up with are, well, let's get everybody raiding, which I think is bad for the game in terms of gameplay. But does try to answer that problem, but I don't think it's the best solution, and that's one of the things I'm sort of disappointed in over the years, and this applies to the entire genre. But how MMOs are pulling players into the story in a more natural way, without requiring them to do, extremely high end in scope content like raiding. So I think Final Fantasy XIV has done a pretty good job. Like, people complain about the main story quest line being required and things like that, but it does a good job of pulling you into the story so you feel a part of it. You get to know the characters, you get to know the storylines. And so I do feel like I know the story to date, what's going on so far with Final Fantasy XIV. Whereas when I played WoW, recently, went from level 1 to 120 and I did very little raiding, no raiding that I remember. I don't really feel like I learned anything about the story that I've missed over the 8 years since I haven't played. So I would hope that that's a big area I think MMOs can actually improve over the next decade, is finding ways to pull people into the story in a more natural way.
Next week, many of our bravest champions are going to take the fight down there, and the consequences of that are what's going to ultimately launch Rise of Ashara. So where are we at with the story? Well, Sylvanas has learned something, and we're not going to go quite into what that is, but what ends up happening is she sends some of her most powerful champions, like Lorthamar and Nathanos, out on her flagship, and with some of the few remaining ships out to sea. The Alliance sees this and immediately seizes the opportunity and begins chasing her forces, Jaina at the helm of her own flagship. And it's at this time that our third Warbringer finally plays her cards. The seas will open up beneath us, and our ships fall and shatter on the rocks below. And we find ourselves in this strange new land that has recently seen air for the first time in tens of thousands of years with Nazjatar. But we'll get into all of that in a second. First, let's take a look at the high-level rundown of everything coming at you in Rise of Ashara. We've got 2 brand new zones, including the formerly underwater zone of Nazjatar and the lost technological island of Mechagon. We're going to be raiding as Shara's Eternal Palace and having a confrontation with Queen Ashara herself. We're also going to be heading in to the city of Mechagon on Operation Mechagon, a mega dungeon with 8 bosses.
Wow, exciting. Now 8 isn't anywhere near the 20 plus that BRD had, but that's exciting, right? Like, I'd love to see a return to some of the dungeons are actually just huge zones full of fun stuff to explore and do and unlock and piece together and interact with and all that. So yeah, I mean, eight bosses. Okay, we'll see how. Like, if it's the thing is, like, if it's still set up to be like run a million times, yeah, a lot of it will depend on level design. But what I'd love to see is not only just big zones, but zones that you make a night of. You know, like, you make a night of it and you go in with friends and you explore pieces of it at a time. You can't really do it all in one sitting unless you're a no-lifer. And then, yeah, it just feels like crazy huge and immense, and there's a sense of exploration accomplishment along with killing all the content and getting the loot. So yeah, hopes for this one, and I hope it's received well if it's done well, so that they'll do more of it.
We also have a brand new system with the Heart of Azeroth that we're going to be talking a lot about today. In addition, Rise of Ashara has a host of additional features, which include new quests spanning Magni and the war campaign that span all across Azeroth and contain a wide variety of different locales, people to meet, and things to interact with. We've got 2 Heritage Armor quest lines for the Gnomes and the Tauren, as well as 2 brand new islands with Crestfall and Snowblossom Village. And we'll be experimenting with heroic warfronts, starting with the Battle for Stromgarde. But that's not all. We've also got a variety of other features that hit up just about every player type in the player base. For PvP players, you got a new arena with the Robodrome, and Ashran is returning as an epic battleground. For everybody, you'll unlock flying with Pathfinder Part 2, and we'll be talking about new items called mount equipment. Season 3 is coming with its item level increases, and we'll have mission updates with new missions and mechanics. Of course, holiday updates, including a revamp to Brewfest, some War Mode specific content, brand new profession content, and new pet battle content. There are a lot of things coming.
New recipes. All right. So are the recipes going to, are the recipes going to transform the professions? Like, a lot of the complaints I've been hearing are about the importance of professions and the value that the professions bring as it relates to Titan forging and whatnot. So yeah, recipes. And they might have to wait, you know, to fix some of those problems for a big release, you know, a full expansion release. But yeah, new recipes seems underwhelming.
In Rise of Ashara. Now let's take a quick look at our first zone, Nazjatar. Nazjatar is this gorgeous, formerly underwater area that includes both these beautiful wildlife areas of kelp and coral, as well as the ancient night elven civilization of the city of Zinishari that was ruined and sunk long ago. You will also make your way down deep into the deepest parts of Nazjatar, where you'll find the Naga-held fortifications. This is our first time showing the deepest parts of Naga architecture that leads all the way up to the Eternal Palace itself. Now, we're doing a few new things out here in Nazjatar.
But mostly it's just fish flopping around on the ground here, you know, because they're used to a 3D environment, and now it's a 2D environment. So they, you know, whoops.
First, one of the ways that you can level up your power in Nazjatar is through a system we call combat allies. When you head down into Nazjatar, the first thing that you're going to notice is that Ashara has laid a trap for you. And we're going to have to skirt a huge Naga army and find our way through dripping caves and caverns to try to avoid her forces until we gain some more power. Most of our troops are dead or dying after the catastrophe that starts this whole experience. Down here, both sides are going to meet brand new allies. The Horde are going to meet a group of former Naga slaves made up of the Gilblin, the Makura, and the Sea Giants. They call themselves the Unshackled. And the Alliance are going to be helped out by a group of deep-water warriors called the Ankoan. Both sides hate the Naga for a variety of reasons, and we're going to help them build up their bases in order to attack back. One of the ways that we can build up our forces here is with our combat allies. This is a system where you can take out one of 3 different allies to head out with you to adventure during the day. Combat allies can
Do you know why we didn't do this? Do you know why we didn't do henchmen? You know, humanoid allies, combat allies, whatever you want to call them. We didn't do them because that's other players' job. You're in a world where there's a lot of other people playing. Talk to them. Play with them. Combat allies. Yeah, there's just like, well, the social experience is officially dead, so let's give players combat allies. Let's give them friends, AI friends. They can do emotes occasionally. They'll have sassy remarks. They'll be meme ready and updated, you know, at all times, every patch update. Next patch will be new memes for your combat companions. They'll bubble hearth at the worst time. Yeah. Anyway, that's why we didn't do henchmen or combat allies, because that's what the other players are for. Connect.
can gain experience by completing world quests, killing rare spawns, or doing some of their own daily quests that will unlock whenever you take one of them out with you. As you level up your combat ally, they will gain new abilities and eventually unlock other cosmetic rewards for you. You have 3 different combat allies you can take out in Nazjatar with you, and they each have 30 levels. So there's a wide level of different progression that you can get just from questing down here in Nazjatar. But it's not all about bringing a buddy out with you. We're also making some changes to how we view world quests and daily quests in this zone. Nazjatar will have an emissary, but all of the world quests are heavily themed around Ashara and Nazjatar itself.
That's also just like a Diablo heavy design, right? Diablo is still largely a single player game, so a single player experience, even, if you will. And so having a buddy along is cool. You know, it's cool progression stuff. You can dress them up, you know, like you're saying. You know, they can complement your mechanics with their mechanics and the way you customize them. You know, so there's a lot of cool stuff going on there. But that's all like single player stuff, and that's the kind of stuff that takes away. If you get all of that value as a single player, then you don't need that value from other players. And so you have to leave that out to create and maintain and establish that need for other players to fulfill that stuff. And that's when, you know, again, in an MMO, that's when the real magic starts to happen, is when you start connecting with other people.
If you see a rare spawn or a rare elite world quest show up, it is a Naga champion sent by Ashara. It has a powerful Ashara-related affix, so every time you see it, it's going to feel a little bit different to fight. They also take over an area and bring with them base defenses. This is one way in which we want to make it feel like all of these champions, when they come down into the world, really have an impact on their area. You'll also find other world quests that are unlocked here through a series of quest lines related to the former denizens of Zinashari. These are just some of the ways that we're trying to change up how the world quest system works in this area, and we'll talk about other ways that we're doing in Mechagon in just a little bit.
That's cool. Like the world design is designed to be repeatable. So one thing Diablo and action RPGs have gotten good at over the years is the affix suffix system. Uh, sorry, prefix suffix system, which is the affix system, um, which creates slightly different gameplay each time, makes you attack each problem a little differently, which can be super fun. Obviously, the devils in the details on those, but yeah, I mean, make the stuff that you're asking players to do repetitively different each time is a step in the right, is not a step in the right direction. We've been doing it for a while, but it was a good thing.
Another one of the things that we're focusing on is taking a lot of those background activities and putting them around your hub as sort of a daily system where you can log in, you can gather some quests that will have you performing a variety of different kills and collects and other activities around the zone before you head out to adventure for the day. So you can always feel like you're being efficient, but also everything comes back to building up this hub and building up our forces so we can take the fight to Ashara.
Yeah, the use of the word efficiency here, like where do I begin? Why why is this why is that word used in a content preview video? Um, it's a telling sign of where the game has gone, right? Like I can't imagine when I'm trying to sell the original World of Warcraft, hey, here are all the cool things we're gonna want you to come along and check out and be a part of and jump into this game, buy this game, and play this game. Um, you're going to be able to grind efficiently, right? Like, could you imagine that being like a bullet point on the back of a box? Efficient grinding. Um, it's just so ridiculous that and it speaks to like, is that the audience now? Like the audience is just like, man, I'm so sick of my doing World of Warcraft stuff. It's just not very efficient. Um, they make me do this and then they make me do that. It's like, is that where we're at with this game? Like, where we want to be told, we want to be soothed, we want to be convinced that the next bit of expansion material is going to be efficient. Like, that's just not what I want to hear. Like, I want to hear about like some of the other stuff he was just talking about. I want to hear about the cool places I'm going to explore, the people I'm going to meet, the story, that I'm going to be involved in, the heroic things I'm going to be, doing. Like that's what pulls you in, right? Not how efficient I'm going to blitz through the content. So it's really sad that that became sort of a selling point to one of these previews.
The main quest line of this zone takes us through building up these guys and then getting down deep into the Naga areas and figuring out what exactly is their weaponry, what are their defenses, and then how do we counter them. Ultimately, we're going to have to make our way over into the city of Zinashari and gain a powerful artifact called the Javelins of Suramar. We're going to use this in a climactic finale that...
Why is he spoiling everything? Like, if I'm going to be doing this content, why?
Breaks open the entrance to Ashara's Eternal Palace. So let's talk a little bit about that in a second, but for now, let's take a quick look at a video of Nazjatar.
Cue the movie. Oh, did you see how efficient that is? Look at that. Look at that. It's like...
The Nazjatar experience, of course, culminates with us breaking into Ashara's eternal palace.
I'm really tempted to do something right, but I won't. I won't.
This is an 8-boss raid and does actually, in fact, contain a purely underwater boss. He's this giant undersea monstrosity creature that snakes in and out of dark holes down in the deeps. We feel it really gets across that sense of delving into the deepest and scariest parts of the water where Ashara has her eternal palace. Of course, there's going to be brand new loot and items to be gotten here, and
By the way, Ashara, totally awesome character. The very little I know about her, amazing, awesome character.
all culminates with a climactic final battle with Queen Ashara, the likes of which is possibly going to change the future of Azeroth. Here's a quick look at the interior of Ashara's Eternal Palace. But the undersea city of Nazjatar isn't the only place we're going to be going in Rise of Ashara. There's also the lost technological island of Mechagon. Heading out to Mechagon, we're going to learn that there is a small town shown here in the lower right of Rustbolt. Rustbolt has long been fighting against the tyranny of King Mechagon, who lives inside of the walled city.
This video is very efficient. They are showing you all the things that you would have naturally found, probably slowly, you know. So they're just, yeah, they're not wasting any time. Now you can just cruise right in and start your DPS. The second you hit that, you don't have to look and wonder, like, wow, look at this place. There she is. Oh my God, we finally found her. Ah! Nope, we can start DPSing instantly.
Mechagon is building a doomsday device. His great goal, and the goal of all of the Arcforged, these heavily mechanized gnomes that live inside of the city with him, is to turn everybody back into robots. Of course, we don't want that to happen, so we're going to be helping out our beleaguered friends down here in Rustbolt. First, we're going to help them rebuild a little bit of their city, building up new mailboxes and base.
Why don't we want to be robots? Robots don't complain when they're doing chores.
Defenses. Then we're going to help them rebuilding a little bit of the island. One of the cool things we're trying to focus on here in Mechagon is making it all about building and tinkering. So you might notice that there are construction projects scattered across the entirety of the island. These are projects where you and other players can come together and use some of the resources that you gather by scavenging and scrounging around Mechagon in order to rebuild powerful structures that give you an advantage on the battlefield.
Awesome. Players coming together, building things. All right.
You may have a powerful boss standing in front of you right next to 2 destroyed flame turrets. If we all come together and repair those, taking down that boss and completing our quests is going to be much easier. As mentioned earlier, we're also going with a slightly different quest.
Well, that suggests that without building them, it's going to be a challenge. Am I hearing challenge is going to be in the game? Certainly not at the lowest levels, the lowest difficulties. That can't be true. Weird. Questions.
Questing structure here in Mechagon. In addition to all of the great main quests and the side quests that are going to kick off from there, we've also got a visitor system. If you built an inn back in your garrison, you may have seen something like this. 3 highly thematic visitors are going to visit Mechagon every day. Each of them brings with them changes in the spawning of the zone and a special daily quest for you to help them out. Helping out all 3 of your visitors every day is one of the best ways to get your Mechagon reputation up, but it also gives you an awesome reward. And
are callbacks to garrisons really? Like, it was loosely connected, right? Like 3 visitors. It's like so the reference seemed forced, but why reference a system that most people despised by the end of it? That seems poor choice.
And that's one of your main endgame loops for Mechagon, while almost everything else is very open-ended and find it at your own pace. You may be able to build a mechanical cat, only to find that you can then collect 9 paint colors for it from a variety of different activities. You may start building a crazy robot that turns out ending up being a giant awesome spider bot mount after you put in a little bit of effort into it. This and a variety of other
just a smidgen of effort, just a little bit.
Outdoor activities await you in Mechagon. Similar to Nazjatar, Mechagon will also be featuring.
But building your own mount is cool. I'll give them that. Collecting a bunch of stuff to build your own mount has a cool feel to it, especially if they work it into the equipment side of things, where you have to make choices on what advantages you get and that kind of thing. That could be a pretty cool system.
A timeless isle-like rare spawn system. When you see one of those stars show up on your minimap, it will often be one that you don't see very often. Some of them have longer spawn timers. Some of them are very rare or have odd or different or secret ways to get them to spawn. And you know that when you see one of those stars on your minimap, it always has something awesome on its drop table. Or at least...
Is that what I know from precedent? That the star has awesome stuff? I hope that's true. I really hope that's true.
You have the potential at getting something awesome, unless you already have that mount. You'll see that system...
Didn't even let me ride that dream for 3 seconds. Didn't even He's just like, oh no, I said something. Wait, no, can't guarantee actual fun will be had in the star table area. You might have fun. You might enjoy the experience. You might get something worthwhile, unless conditions A, B, C. All right, forget it. It's just going to be something you do because it's there. Okay.
Incorporated both here and in Nazjatar. We feel like it makes exploring the endgame pretty exciting to be able to see those again. So let's take a look at the exterior of Mechagon Island. Oh, actually, hang on one second, real quick.
Nope, too late. Paused it. Let's take a look at this. Junkyard tinkering. What do we got here? Build some transporters. Disposable radio. B-spot power pack. Ooh, laser pointers. Locked behind the store. You want a red dot? You gotta pay for it, my friend. Ching-ching.
Quick. So just getting a little bit further into the crafting and tinkering aspects of Mechagon Island, one of the things that you're going to be doing is building up this guy. And this is Pascal the robot.
Nice.
Pascal is a new system that we have implemented that allows you to collect schematics from questing and adventuring around Mechagon, and then build him up further. This is one of the ways that you're going to be specifically building up your hub. You can then gain the scrap and batteries that you gain around Mechagon to build a variety of different things here at Pascal. So this way, it allows you to unlock a whole lot of different things over the course of your adventure and build them yourself.
Yeah, so this is a great idea. Not a great idea. It's not that it's not a great idea. It's a great example of adding character progression without more levels, right? The combat allies that you mentioned earlier is another example of that. I think it's a poor example in an MMO, as I explained, but it's another example of that. So yeah, we don't have to add levels, right, to make people feel like they're progressing their character. I don't know how this actually plays out or anything like that, but just wanted to point out that, yeah, adding levels isn't always necessary.
Very tinkering, very Mechagnome focused. As you can see here, some of the cool things you're going to be able to get from Pascal include the ability to transport immediately back to Mechagon, a Mechanocat laser pointer that gets you the aforementioned Mechanocat mount, and a variety of different powerful consumables. You may even want to stop here at the beginning of the day and pick up some electroshock grenades before you head out to Nazjatar, because they're pretty powerful. All right, I said it before, but now we can actually do it. Let's take a look at Mechagon City.
Great visuals, great sounds. Yeah, I think like they're in a spot, right? I shouldn't overly criticize, them revealing stuff in a content preview, because they have to reveal something. They have to show something that gets people excited. And places that are easily accessible once the patch hits, I think are great things to show. Like this is something it sounds like you can go to right away and start interacting with and playing in and all that stuff. So this is a great example of what to show. I don't think it's good to show the throne room of Ajara, right? Like show the outside, show the entrance, but keep everything else like off of, out of the screenshot thing. So that, again, there's an exploration, there's a sense of excitement on the places that you have to work to even get to before you go in. So, yeah. And then maybe, it's tough. Like, it is tough. They're in a spot. Like, they do have to show things that are going to get people excited. But don't kill the experience at the same time, I think is the tightrope they have to walk. So I'm probably overly critical earlier, but yeah. Let's watch it again. Yeah, this area looks really cool. Sounds great too. And of course, no one's laughing.
So we're going to have a lot of fun out of Mechagon. There's a lot of cool mechanics out there, a lot of things to collect. But ultimately, we're going to have to, at some point, come in and stop King Mechagon and his Doomsday device. So in the dead of night, you and the Rustbolt Resistance are going to make your way around the Junker Wastes. You're going to take out his hunter-killer robots and bust your way into Mechagon City proper. That is Operation Mechagon. This is a double-sized, 8-boss dungeon that culminates with a climactic battle in King Mechagon's lightning-shrouded tower against his giant death robot. In Operation Mechagon, you will be making your way up through the trash compactor like...
Yeah, like, this doesn't have to be 35 minutes. How long does a video have to be to get people excited? Like, if you were just to show... like imagine this were 5 or 10 minutes long and they just scratched the surface. Like there's this place called Mechagon and you're going to explore it and quests are going to take you there. Like, I don't know. There just has to be a way to like not tell players everything, the role they're going to be playing. I don't know. Just, it's too much.
Any good gnomish operation does, defeating the giant trash compactor robots, and then up into Mechagon City, shown here. The Mechagon City denizens aren't exactly friendly towards us, and they're not going to welcome us. In addition, the city itself has been weaponized against you. You'll see machine guns popping out of hedgerows. Nothing here is exactly our friend, so watch your back. Ultimately, you'll make your way all the way up to King Mechagon himself. Operation Mechagon contains some awesome new loot, new drops, and all kinds of crazy Mechagnome activities. let's take a quick look at Operation Mechagon.
Is it also telling that the only thing they're not showing is like the attributes of the loot? Right, that's the only thing that's behind the wall. Not that everyone can't spreadsheet it out, but or probably has already. But yeah, sounds like that's the only thing they're not willing to spoil. Oh, and the boss fight mechanics too. That's another one. By the way, it's sorry, they're going to show the loot. By the way, that if the things they show are a very very small percentage of the actual moments that players are going to experience, then it's okay. It's more okay. Like that slide, that scene where they were sliding down. It's like that's a cool actual moment in a dungeon experience, a slide like that. And they've spoiled it. So, here's the part where we're going down the slide, is how you're going to feel when you get there this time. But if there's like, 10 moments like that in the dungeon where you're having cool moments, then it's probably okay to spoil one. But it's like, I don't get that sense. But, yeah.
Mechagon contains an awesome new trinket as well. You're going to pick this up during your early questing, and you can get advancements for it through both questing and the Mechagon Mega Dungeon. This is the pocket-sized computational device. This is a customizable trinket where you will get punch cards of the yellow, red, and blue variety that you can mix and match and collect all of, and socket them into your pocket-sized computational device, making the trinket that's right for you. We feel like this is a fun new way to explore trinket design, and we're really looking forward to your feedback on all of the different punch cards for your device.
Sweet.
Moving on, let's talk a little bit about the fate of the world and the heart of Azeroth. When we last left off, Magni and Mother were determining how best to start healing the planet.
That does look cool.
Unfortunately, since then, things have gotten worse. Giant wounds are opening up all over the world, and we don't have a good way to heal them. In addition, they have detected that titanic essences are beginning to leak out of Azeroth. Now, the Titans imbued their power into all kinds of different things, into automatons like Mimiron and the Titan Keepers, into the planet itself and certain structures, into the dragonflights, and we're finding that all of these essences of the Titans are no longer clinging to Azeroth the way they once did, as the planet is dying. So these titanic essences are starting to coalesce all over the planet, and they're very powerful. So what Magni and Mother are going to do, alongside us, the champion of Azeroth, is rebuild the Chamber of Heart. Here we see the rebuilt Heart Chamber itself, and we will also gain the ability to build a brand new structure in here called the Heart Forge. Here next to me you can see the Heart of Azeroth socketed into the Heart Forge. Doing so unlocks the ability for the Heart of Azeroth to absorb these essences and gain great amounts of power. In doing so, we'll be able to finally start sealing up some of these wounds and making some progress in terms of healing Azeroth. But what is...
Yeah, such a Final Fantasy plot. Gaia's heart is hurt. We must rescue it.
What does this mean for gameplay? What does it really mean to socket and slot an essence inside of your Heart of Azeroth? Let's take a look. When you first unlock the Heart Forge, you will gain the ability to slot essences into this constellation-like structure in the Heart of Azeroth. The first slot you will unlock is the big golden one in the center, and as you continue to level up the Heart of Azeroth, you'll unlock all of the remaining nodes in the constellation. Unlocking the large slot in the center allows you to slot a essence, shown here on the right-hand side, into it. This grants you a brand new artifact level active ability. This is a powerful new ability that your character gains depending on which essence you have slotted there. As you continue gaining power, you will gain 2 additional slots that are minor slots. These are shown in the lower left and upper right hand corner of the constellation. Slotting an essence into a minor slot gives you a passive bonus. The slot in the center, the major slot, is the slot that gives you the big active bonus. Essences themselves have multiple different types. We want you to feel like you have a variety of different active abilities that any of your characters can choose from as you collect all of these essences. This gives you a huge amount of customization. Any one of these essences slotted into a major slot will grant you both the major power, shown at the top, and the minor power, shown at the bottom. Any of these essences slotted into either of the 2 minor slots will give you the minor passive power. This way, you can change your character's active and passive powers depending on what you happen to be doing for the day, what boss you're fighting, or what other situation you're running into. We want all
Did they have to show 2 haste things? You can customize the crap out of it, but either way, you're going to end up with X amount of haste over Y amount of time.
all of these to feel like awesome abilities for every character. Essences also come in a variety of different ranks. You can obtain a higher rank of an essence without having the lower rank of the essence. It's not the essence itself ranking up, but they come with the ability to collect a number of different ranks of them. As you get a higher rank of an essence, that essence may not necessarily get simply a damage boost, but you may see other utility elements, the addition of charges, and a variety of other things. The complexity of your decision making about which essence to use when is going to increase as you collect more and gain higher ranks of them. Now, for those of you players that get really into the system, really like mythic raiding, top-end PvPing, there is the top level of essence, shown here on the right in legendary orange. If you're able to obtain the top level of an essence, you gain a dramatic cosmetic appearance change. When you fire off that ability, everybody will know that you've been able to obtain the legendary rank of that essence.
That is cool. Showing people through spell effects that they've got this week here is a cool new way of doing things. Yeah, it'll come down to how this is earned. This can turn into a negative, depending on how it's earned. But yeah, the different quality types. I don't know that there's enough room for 4 quality types, or even 3 for that matter, considering you only have 1 necklace major slot to put in. Like, this system works great when you have 12 slots or more and you're constantly rotating them out as you're leveling up. But like, yeah, the second you get a blue that's reasonably good, all greens are out of the picture now. I shouldn't say all greens, because they'll have different mechanics, so you might like one over another, but you can quickly obsolete these first 2, depending on what kind of content you're hitting. So these are very finite in terms of paying out. It's just a matter of which purples you have, which is kind of true of the whole game. And because the game has changed in a way that, it used to be greens for solo content, blues for dungeon content, and purple for the hardest stuff in the game, raids, etc. Now it's purples you get purple sometimes for solo content. This structure is even more damaged and finite. So yeah, we'll see how it plays out, I guess.
Now, collecting all legendary ranks of all of the essences is going to be pretty difficult. Essences come from a variety of different things in World of Warcraft.
This also strikes me as, the first thing I think of is the Diablo system, where you break down items and rip their rip their properties to put them in your wardrobe or whatever it's called, and then you can put those abilities into other items or onto other items. Another Diablo style thing. A good idea is a good idea, but I do feel like they're just kind of ripping off Diablo at this point in a lot of places where they shouldn't be. This isn't necessarily a bad way, but again, like this list, it's this illusion that, oh, I'm going to have all kinds of things I'm going to want to do and put into my Heart of Azeroth. It's like, no, you're probably going to have like 2 or 3 that are even potentially usable for the thing you're trying to accomplish. And it's just going to be like a choice of slotting it in, and then you're just going to stick it there and leave it there and never look at this list again. Or rarely look at it, as you occasionally get a new one, and then probably just instantly make a choice of whether or not it's usable or not. But so I think this is kind of an illusion. I don't think this system supports, again, a huge number of cool choices and qualities. So there's a lot of pressure on this one slot. So we'll see. I mean, there are additional slots, but this is the big active one.
You can get them from questing, from raiding. You can get them from doing outdoor activities and getting reputation. You can get them from dungeoning and from PvPing. If you want to collect everything in the Essence system, you're going to have to do a lot of different activities. And maybe...
But you won't want to do all of those because you only need the one you want, right? There's only one slot here. So you're going to look online, find out what the one you want, where it's at, go do that content until you have it. And then the rest of that content is like unrewarding. So yeah, too much pressure. Content created and dropping stuff that there's not enough desire. Like if there were 20 slots here, then great, I could do lots of content to find all kinds of things. But one slot, fill it and forget it. It's not enough motivation.
You'll find that doing one particular activity helps you work towards one essence, getting you a lot of agency in how you want to progress your character on any given day. We think the Essence system is very exciting. It gives you a huge amount of customization for any character and a lot of things to go out and collect, similar to artifacts. We're really looking forward to your feedback on this system. And we know this is a lot to take in and a lot of tooltips right now, so we've actually got a blog post coming out at the very end of this presentation that will explain much more of this in detail. Moving on, let's talk about our other features of Rise of Azshara. So, you'll get to go on a very gnomish questline that goes into the history of the remaining family of Mechgineer Thermoplug in order to unlock the Gnome Heritage armor. Here's a final shot of the armor, lots of awesome nuts, bolts, and lights, and a very cool pair of goggles. Perfect for taking into Mechagon. For the Horde, the Tauren get this very Thunderbluff, very Mulgore feeling heritage armor set with totems and feathers, lots of awesome pieces here. The Tauren will be going on a spirit journey with the Spirit Walkers in Mulgore and Thunderbluff to figure out what's going on and why are the spirits restless, why now, and why in Mulgore. Now,
see, that was a great intro. Here are these questions. Now you have to go explore and find out the answers. That's essentially what I was talking about before. Like, who is this mysterious Naga with 4 arms and a bunch of eyes that lives in an undersea cave? Like, obviously they've been building up Azshara, who's a great character, for a long time now, so everyone knows it's Azshara, but you get the idea. Like, just tickle people's fancy a little bit. Get them to go explore.
Now, my Tauren friends, unfortunately, we're going to have to solve one tiny loose end before you can go on your Heritage Armor questline, and that is the war campaign. All of the decisions that Sylvanas, Jaina, Gen, Anduin, all of the leaders, even Saurfang, have led up to this moment. Chained up beneath Orgrimmar is Bane. And we're going to see what his fate is, and really, what the fate of everyone in that group is in the next chapter in our war campaign story. Really excited to hear what people think about.
Ah, yes. I was wondering which would break first, your body or your spirit.
About this. Moving right along, we will be introducing our very first heroic warfront, starting with Battle for Stromgarde. So when we were approaching heroic warfronts, one of the things we wanted to make sure it felt like was not simply a 20-minute long boss fight. There should be a dramatic difference between a heroic warfront and doing a raid boss. So one of the things we've been heavily focused on is the strategic layer of heroic warfronts. If you played StarCraft 2 or Warcraft 3, you may have remembered missions where the enemy started sending huge waves of very different units to different locations and having to divert your forces and in some cases hole up inside of your city and defend in order to take the fight back to them. We're going to be introducing many of these mechanics into the Battle for Stromgarde. You will see particular attack waves in areas where you are weakest, and you will have to determine amongst your raid who's going to head back and defend as you risk losing. You'll also need to determine how you're going to funnel your resources in order to best combat the units that they're sending at you. And you may even see the enemy commander periodically take the field, take the fight to one of your locations, only to teleport out with their group once they're at a certain percentage of health. We're really excited to see what you think about this. We feel like it plays dramatically different than any of our raid boss fights. Next up.
I mean, that is a cool idea, right? Like, it is a cool idea. To me, it just sounds like a pretty basic idea, you know, like, I don't know, is anyone else feeling like they're really excited about this new thing they thought up that just sounds like, I don't know, 100 games have used before? You know, waves of, I mean, like EQ did fights like this, I'm pretty sure. I mean, that's what we used to call them, the ring event, where you stand in the middle and they're, you know, and all kinds of mobs come attack you, right? And then the boss shows up at the end. So they seem really excited about this idea that's been around for over 15 years. And I don't know, which makes me worry that you know, the ideas they've had over the past few years aren't as good as some of these things that they're super excited about. Like, this is a special idea that they've come up with. That's what I'm worried about. That's what worries me.
For players that enjoy PvP, take the fight to the mechanical arena in Mechagon called the Robodrome. The Robodrome contains the whirring and clanking gizmos and gears that you would expect of a mechanical arena, with some awesome new line of sight blockers and great visibility for arena fights. PvP players will also welcome the addition of a brand new epic battleground. Welcome back to one of the most epic battlegrounds of all time, Ashran. Ashran will be joining the epic battleground bucket. Welcome back, Ashran. We've got 2 new islands coming in Rise of Ashara as well, the first one being Crestfall. Now, Crestfall was a Warcraft 2 map, so you're going to be seeing elements of lore, especially if you've recently played Warcraft 2, scattered all around this island, such as this beached giant turtle that the goblins, of course, used as their submarine, which you first got access to on this map. Long ago, of course, it decayed and died, and now it's home of some crabs and probably some hosen and a variety of other creatures.
Crabs and hoes? Did he just say that? Crabs and hoes?
New humanoids for this group include some ghost orcs, and we'll, of course, have new item drops and pets and mounts and all kinds of other fun stuff. And just a little bit of a different feeling, we're going to the quiet mountain town of Snowblossom Village. This is inhabited by the Pandaren, who are currently under attack not only by undead that you see here, but the ever-present menace of the hopping bunny-like vermin. It's going to be your new humanoid group for this island. If you're a fan of islands, both of these are awesome spaces to explore. With Rise of Ashara, of course, comes the second half of the Pathfinder achievement and the unlocking of flying. Once you unlock Pathfinder Part 2, you will be immediately granted this gorgeous mechanical parrot mount for your efforts.
Yeah, so you please bear with us. We lost sound.
As well as the older areas. We think that unlocking flying in these areas is going to feel awesome. Once you've flown around the Naga caverns, yeah, I don't know if you're going to want to fly in any other zone. It's a lot of fun to navigate.
Yeah, the stuff that you talked about while it was quiet was probably amazing, unfortunately.
So let's talk a little bit about mount equipment slots. We have a ever-present problem, which is that there is one mount that is incredibly powerful, especially for leveling, and especially if we're about to head down into a zone that has, like puddles and streams and stuff. And that's the Water Strider.
This is so funny. Oh yeah, we added this mount that has a thing, and none of the other mounts have things. And whoops, we realized after the fact that people would like their mount to have a thing. Huh.
The Water Strider has innate water walking, which makes it very useful for anybody. But not all of us want to roll around all the time on a bug mount. So we will be introducing a brand new item and equipment slot called Mount Equipment. This equipment slot is on your character, and once you apply a piece of mount equipment to it, all of your mounts will receive this benefit.
Yeah, so this seems to be an example of how they react to mistakes as well. What's the right answer here? To pull water walking off the Water Strider, or add a system where now all mounts can gain water walking to fix this problem? Like, and I have nothing against mount equipment. I think mount equipment is actually a really cool idea. But yeah, the reason they got there is so interesting. And yeah, in most other cases, I would not say. Like, this is the age old, like, so you have 9 characters, 9 classes, 9 champions, whatever it is in a game. Oh, one of them's too powerful, so he's up here, and the other 8 are down here. And you frequently hear, "Don't nerf my guy. Make all the 8 other ones just as good as this guy," right? But that's just rookie design, right? Flat out. You just bring this one back in, and you bring the ones that are down here up. The one that's down here up into the median, right? Like, because you can't just like, right? This just changes the game if you're always doing that, right? So that's what this reminds me of. It's like, oh, we made a mistake. We'll fix the mistake. No, don't fix the mistake. Make the rest of the entire game work now that around this mistake, right? Like, that's terrible. It's a terrible response. And yeah, but again, like, I don't mind a mount equipment, system. Like, that could be really cool. That's again, another great example of character progression that's not adding levels. So, you're building up your mount to do cool things. I think that's super cool. But yeah, like, I would have left out the part where it was like, yeah, we accidentally put the Water Strider in, and so we built this whole system to fix that problem. Like, don't sell it as a band-aid to a problem. Sell it as an exciting new system that you came up with for characters to progress their character, players to progress their characters.
Some of the pieces of mount equipment that you can apply to your character in Rise of Ashara include a saddle chute that gives you an automatic parachute when you jump down from too high of a height. If you're a player that likes exploring, you may like that. You can also get inflatable mount shoes that grants water walking to all of your mounts, so you no longer have to use your Water Strider necessarily, unless you really enjoy it. And the comfortable rider's barding, which can prevent all of your mounts from being dazed. We feel like the mount equipment slot.
Yeah. Killing days.
Is an awesome new way to allow you to pick whatever mount you want in whatever context. And we'll have more information to share once we hit the PTR. Next up, let's talk a little bit about brand new season. Season 3 is coming at you with Rise of Ashara. Brings with it, with the PvP season, a brand new set of vicious mounts shown here, the Vicious Basilisks, and of course, brand new Arena Gladiator mounts. And the Mythic season will bring with it, of course.
Yeah, okay, so I didn't want to talk about days. For those of you that don't know me or don't watch my channel, I'm a fan of days because it makes the world dangerous. It increases the engagement level of you traversing zones, right? Like if there's a chance you get knocked off your mount and then have to fight a bunch of things, it makes the world feel a little bit more dangerous. It makes it so you have to pay attention to where bosses are, where mobs are, and skirt around them. It makes it so the world isn't just this passive place that you ride through constantly to get to the place you're going. So in order to create that, you have to have a daze mechanic to rip people off their mounts. Now, naturally, since everyone got flight, daze is just this huge annoyance because it's like, well, normally you let us fly over all the content, and that's why flying is so bad for the game. Because it drops your engagement level to 0, and you don't ever have to worry about the world being dangerous because you're always flying over it. And so that's the new bar for what the game offers. And so now people are complaining, well, in the rare cases I don't have flight, now I have to, now I'm annoyed that I get knocked off my mount and can't just travel directly to the place I'm going, pick up the thing, and directly back. I actually had to traverse the world, explore the world, fear the world. And so naturally everyone's like, get rid of days. It doesn't fit anymore in today's MMO, in today's WoW. And that's a fair argument because of flight being included and because of all the steps, that have been made to make the outdoor world just a joke. But it used to be a scary place. And so I laugh about days being removed because it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it kind of makes sense in today's WoW, but man, it's come so far. We've come so far from WoW being this cool place to explore, this dangerous place to explore, this place that was, feared, and where you had to pay attention to it and you had to be engaged in the experience. And so it makes me sad that now it's just like, before you even get flying, now you just put that mount equipment piece on, and because nothing's going to one-shot you, right? Or even close. So you can just ride through all the content that's in the outdoor world and go straight to the place you wanted. And it's just like, make people work towards things, make people traverse the world. It's just getting really bad.
Of course, the usual item level increases, as well as a Nazjatar themed affix. Along with Season 3, we'll be unlocking the Eternal Palace Raid and the Mechagon Mega Dungeon, and all of the great rewards, loot, essences, and collectibles that you'll find in there. Let's talk about those collectibles for a second. Here's our awesome loot picture. Here are some of the things you'll be able to pick up in Rise of Ashara. On the left-hand side here, you see not much else to say here. It's awesome. It's a giant wheel. It's a big wheel mount. It's very exciting. And next to that, one of the battle pets you'll pick up in Mechagon, this tiny little mechanical gnome bot. He has a variety of different heads, including one that's a siren. So this is essentially Mechagon's Alarmo bot. We brought it back again. Always have to have an Alarmo bot. It's a very gnome thing. The crab mount that we mentioned at BlizzCon has gotten finalized in all of its final anims, and man, it looks amazing. Down in the deepest areas of Nazjatar, of course, there's some creepy undersea critters to collect for the pet battlers. And if you were a fan of Warcraft 3, you may have been wondering this entire time what happened to those remaining Naga units, the Tidal Guardian and the Snapdragon. Well, I'm happy to announce that you'll be able to see them using Tidal Guardians down in Nazjatar. These giant snake creatures shoot lightning and will be tameable by hunters. And the Snapdragons will also be showing up, shown here on the right-hand side, as an obtainable mount in Nazjatar. There are a lot of great features coming at you in Rise of Ashara. Here's a quick recap of everything that's coming. 2 new zones, a new raid, a new dungeon, and a brand new system with a ton of new active abilities and customization. A great amount of new quests spanning all over the planet and some major lore characters, 2 heritage armors, 2 islands, a heroic war front, a new arena, the addition of Ashran to the Epic Battlegrounds, Pathfinder Part 2, mount equipment, Season 3, we're also adding new missions and mechanics as mission updates. Brewfest is getting a giant makeover and now has a pretzel hat and an eating contest with holiday updates. We're building some content that is specific for war mode that we think you're gonna think is really cool. Also some new professions, and of course new pet battle content, including the Stratholme Pet Battle Dungeon. Lot and a lot of awesome stuff coming in Rise of Ashara. So naturally, we want to get this in your hands as soon as possible. But we wanted to wait and make sure that the majority of the content was going to be there and playable for you. We want to get your feedback on everything, and that means that things needed to be ready. And that meant that we were holding off the PTR for a while until the content was essentially at a place where we were ready for your feedback. But most importantly, we wanted to make sure that the Heart of Azeroth and Essence system was in place immediately. We want you to be able to jump into the PTR right away, unlock your essences, and immediately begin playing with them to give us all of that great feedback that we're looking forward to, with more than enough time for us to be able to respond to all of your comments. Well, I'm happy to announce that we feel like we're there, and you will be seeing PTR first start to hit the servers next week. Really looking forward to everything that you're about to see. Of course, we all look forward to the giant data mining explosion and all of the awesome pets and mounts and other things and broadcast texts and quests that you're going to read. So we'll be looking for all of your reactions on the forums. And of course, when you're able to jump into PTR, we will have a ton of this content playable, as well as that essence vendor waiting to immediately sell you some essences so that you can start playing with them and start giving us feedback about how this brand new heart system feels. We've put a lot of time and effort and heart into Rise of Ashara, and we think it shows. There's a lot of really cool stuff here that changes the game in a lot of different ways. So we're really looking forward to your feedback. Thank you very much for watching our live stream. I'm Jeremy Fiesel. On behalf of everybody on the World of Warcraft team, we'll see you in Rise of Ashara. Thanks.
Epic music. All right, thanks very much for watching, everyone. Final comments. Yeah, I mean, they can't fix the game in an 8.2 update, right? But I'm still seeing some of the sort of same the same approaches to problem solving that don't inspire me, you know, to get back into WoW and, you know, continue wondering about the future. So we'll see how some of that stuff plays out. But and it is a lot of it does seem like a lot of content in terms of like zones and raids and dungeons, which is cool. I mean, that's sort of the measure a lot of people have about what is an 8.2, you know, what is a patch, is how much content. But yeah, the systems don't seem to be growing in a great way. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching. Me watch this word. Thanks for watching, or words. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. And come follow me on Twitch. I'm at twitch.tv/KevinJordan. And I'll see you next time.